Some say they have a memory like an elephant. Others have trouble remembering where they put their keys. Sometimes you can lose track of whole civilizations as they fade away. Don't worry, it's all coming back to us now. We've found 10 more lost civilizations you've never heard of. Located in what is now Turkey is Chateau Hoyuk, one of the most important archaeological sites in the world. First settled in 7400 BCE, Chateau Hoyuk shows researchers insight into the evolution of social organization and cultural practices during the transition from villages to urban settlements. The people of Chateau Hoyuk developed cooking pots, domesticated cattle, grew the area's housing population and density, and began creating decorative art like wall paintings and sculptures. The name Chateau Hoyuk means forked mound, referring to the eastern and western mounds found at the site. At its peak, 3,500 to 8,000 people lived in Chateau Hoyuk's eastern mound, but eventually inhabitants would disperse to the western mound, which is commonly associated with the early Chalcolithic period. Excavation of the archaeological site began in the 1960s. Today, the active dig site is covered by a sweeping protective roof. Nestled at the crossroads of modern-day Pakistan, Afghanistan, and India lies the site of the Indus Valley Civilization, one of the oldest known human civilizations. Along 900 miles of the Indus Valley, archaeologists have identified farming communities and two main cities, Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, which were thought to have massive populations, 5 times larger than most other ancient cities. Rediscovered by British archaeologists in 1829, remnants of the Indus Valley Civilization were discovered relatively late in the archaeological game, compared to other more commonly known early civilizations. It's now thought that many of the firsts that had been previously attributed to early Egypt and Mesopotamia actually belong to the Indus Valley Civilization, such as urban sanitation systems, standardized weights and measures, and wheeled vehicles. It's still a mystery why the civilization crumbled. Scholars believe it may have been due to climate change, overpopulation, or a decline in trade with neighboring Egypt and Mesopotamia. Around 700 BCE, King Sennacherib made Nineveh the capital of the Assyrian Empire, located in modern-day Iraq. He built public parks, aqueducts, and canals, and constructed a great wall around the city. He also built a library with over 30,000 inscribed clay tablets and an 80-room palace. Some scholars even believe that the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were actually in Nineveh. You guessed it, built by the king. Yep, the guy did a lot of building. Even before King Sennacherib got into the real estate game, Nineveh was a bustling trading hub and a center for the development of arts, science, and architecture since as early as 6000 BCE. It was one of the most affluent cities of its time. After the death of King Sennacherib's grandson, King Ashurbanipal, the Assyrian Empire became divided. Ashurbanipal's sons fought for control of the throne, but they weren't able to maintain the massively large empire. Regions such as Persia and Babylon, who were subject to Assyrian rule, had spent years trying to break free. And seeing the unstable leadership caused by the royal power struggle, they seized the opportunity, burning the city to the ground and dividing the region between them. Long before Mesopotamia and Egypt, there was the Vinca civilization, also known as the Danube Valley Civilization. Reaching far across modern-day Serbia, Romania, Bulgaria, and Macedonia, the settlements of Vinca are believed to have lasted more than 1,000 years before being abandoned. Within the settlements, which each housed a few thousand people, archaeologists have found evidence of copper utensils that date back 1,000 years before the Middle Ages even began in Europe. They have also found carved pottery, which contains symbols that may comprise one of the earliest writing systems in the world. Aside from the forks, knives, and language, there's also treasure. The Varna gold treasure discovered in this region is roughly 6,500 years old, making it some of the oldest gold metallurgy in the world. Scholars have long assumed that the Vinca civilization was abandoned because of invasion, but they've found no signs of battle or violence. Today, theories suggest climate change made the people of Vinca change their way of life. Dubbed the Land of Fragrance, Gandara was a cultural meeting place and trade center, right smack in the middle between India, Central Asia, and the Middle East from around 500 BCE to 1000 CE. Conquered by Alexander the Great in the 4th century BCE, Gandara was later ruled by the Mauryan dynasty of India, who were responsible for the spread of Buddhism to Afghanistan and Central Asia. A multi-ethnic society, Gandara was home to a distinctive art style that mixed Indian and Greco-Roman influences. Because of its favorable, very central location, Gandara always had invaders, traders, and travelers crossing through. During its time, a total of 9 different empires ruled over Gandara, including the Persian Achaemenid Empire and the Hindu Shahi of northern India. Everyone wanted a piece of Gandara. Known as the Foothills Mountain Complex, the ancestral Pueblo cities cut into cliffs throughout the southwest U.S. have been there since 100 CE. The Pueblo people created the cliffside dwellings to protect themselves from the elements and for defense against other tribes. They used blocks of sandstone and mud mortar and were built to last. The dwellings are still standing and in great condition today. The Pueblo dug deep pits within the living quarters called kivas, which served as religious temples. They also dug pits in the ground to store food and used the porous cracks in the walls to gather water. The Pueblo also developed roads and irrigation systems for their crops, an impressive feat considering they lived in a desert. Historians aren't sure why the civilization declined. It's possible they were attacked by hostile tribes or the resources of the area ran out. Today, descendants of the Pueblo can be traced to the people of the modern tribes of Tewa, Acoma, Zuni, and Hopi. South of Lake Titicaca in modern-day Bolivia once stood the cultural center and architectural marvel known as the city of Tiwanaku from 400 to 1200 CE. Agriculture was the main economic base of the Tiwanaku Empire, and the city had a complex system of underground drainage that controlled the flow of rainwater, and an even more complex political structure based on religion. Most impressive of all are the insanely complex architectural feats of Tiwanaku. The Pyramid of Acapana, likely a religious monument, once featured intricate carvings of the heads of defeated enemies killed in combat. Kalasasea's temple, believed to have served as an observatory, contains 2 large monoliths and a doorway known as the Gate of the Sun, carved from a single slab of andesite. The agricultural, political, and architectural innovations were adopted by other civilizations such as the Inca, but the Tiwanaku culture and empire disappeared around 1200 CE. Between 700 and 1300 CE, near what is now present-day Collinsville, Illinois, the pre-urban society of Cahokia was the largest prehistoric native civilization north of Mexico. Cahokia was the center of a larger sphere of influence stretching from Wisconsin to Florida and Oklahoma to North Carolina. Coalescing at around 1050, Cahokia drew residents and religious pilgrims from throughout the region to its urban center. Early urban planners used astronomical alignments to lay out the city, which featured a town center with plazas and buildings atop earthen mounds, 120 in total, of 3 different styles. Scholars say that during the golden age of Cahokia between 1100 and 1200 CE, the urban center may have housed up to 20,000 people, making it larger than the city of London at the time. By 1300 CE, Cahokia was abandoned for reasons still unknown. Many Native American tribes today claim to have roots to the Cahokia mounds and culture from long ago. Home to Angkor Wat, the largest religious monument in the world, the Khmer Empire was also the largest continuous empire of Southeast Asia from 800 to 1430 CE. The Khmer king seceded from the kingdom of Chenla around 800 CE and would go on to rule over parts of modern-day Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and Vietnam. The empire had intensive cultural, political, and trade relations with other empires, including the Java and Srivijaya Empire. The Khmer Empire boasted the massive capital city of Angkor, a testament to the empire's immense power, wealth, and its variety of belief systems. The city may have been the largest pre-industrial urban center in the world, larger than modern-day New York City. Big Apple? More like Big Temple. The Chimu people of the Kingdom of Timor built large cities and defensive settlements in Peru between 900 and 1400 CE. The Chimu held an elaborate system of social stratification. The capital city of Chan Chan consisted of citadels with high walls and compounds that were believed to house royals and the ruling class. The dense populations of the cities within the kingdom required elaborate irrigation systems to hydrate their people and support agriculture, but their dependence on irrigation made them vulnerable to attack. The dominance of the Kingdom of Timor came to an end after it was conquered by the Incas in the 1460s. You'd have to have the memory of a goldfish to forget that list. Did we forget anything? We really hope not. But let us know in the comments. Until next time, make sure to keep track of your keys and your closest major city.